In this video, we're going to be talking about unbiased and biased samples. So far we've looked at several types of graphs, but we've just taken the data they've given us and we've put it on a graph, but we haven't really considered where that data comes from. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about in this video. All right, so if we open this up, it says that data gathered from a representative sample can be used to make predictions about a population. So that's why it's important to have good data, because if you're going to use it to predict what's going to go on later, then you need to have accurate information so that you can make good predictions. All right, so to get a valid conclusion, or valid really just means accurate or correct conclusion, you have to have something called an unbiased sample. It must be selected so that it is representative of the entire population, such as. All right, so there are two types of unbiased samples, and it's unbiased because it's not going to skew the data one way or the other. It's not going to favor one over another, and that way it's a true representation of what's really going on. All right, so the first type is called a simple random sample. And in this one, each item is as likely to be chosen as any other. So this would be like if I wanted to choose someone to participate in a game. I might put everybody's names in a hat and then just choose one. All right, so it's pretty random selection. There's no preference given to one person over another because everyone has an equally likely chance to be chosen. All right, the second type of random sample is called a systematic random sample, and in this one each item is selected according to a specific item or time interval. So this might be if I'm choosing someone, but now I'm using some type of system to do it. So I'm going to choose every 10th person to participate in the game in an alphabetical list. So again, I'm not giving preference to someone over another one, but there's a pattern to how I'm doing it. All right. In contrast, you have something called a biased sample. And that's when one or more parts of the population are favored over others. Okay, and so there are two types of these as well. One's called a convenience sample, and in this one, it consists of members of a population that are easily accessed. So, see, maybe you're taking a survey of people, and you're taking, I don't know, you want to ask them about their favorite type of food, but you stand in front of one particular restaurant, a pizza place maybe. And so people coming out of there might be more likely to say pizza because they just ate it. So that would be a convenient sample. It's easy to do because they're all coming out of the same place. All right, the other type of bias sample is called a voluntary response. So the voluntary response sample involves those who or only those who want to participate in the sampling. So that's when you just ask somebody if they want to participate in a survey. So if they want to leave feedback about maybe same type of thing, the pizza place, they're more likely, and especially if you give them some type of reward, like if you tell them that if they do the survey, they're going to get a $10 coupon for their pizza, they're going to be more likely to give you a favorable feedback just because you've given them something. So that might bias. You might not get accurate results because you're kind of doing something to sort of make things come out better for you. All right. So what we're going to do is look at some situations and then determine whether the sample is valid. All right. So in the first one, it says to determine the favorite dog breed of people who enter dog shows, every fifth person entering a dog show is surveyed. So you're going to a dog show, you want to know their favorite type of dog, and the way you do this is that you're going to stop every fifth person and ask them. So that's a pretty good sample, and it's got a system of selecting people randomly, so you're not going to just do it after the Labradors participate in the dog show, because if you did it just at that time, then you might get people who just like Labradors. All right, so people are selected using a specific pattern. So it is a systematic random sample. It is valid and unbiased. And there may not be just one way to write the answer to these questions, but just be able to back up what you're thinking. So systematic, random sample, that's because there's a pattern to how we're choosing people. All right, the second one says to determine what type of pet people prefer, the spectators at a dog show are surveyed. All right, so this time, if you're standing at a dog show asking people what their favorite pet is, you have one of those examples where if they're already at a dog show, they probably like dogs. And so you're going to get maybe a biased sample because that's not going to represent the entire population if you're just asking the people at the dog show. So this would be biased. People at a dog show probably prefer dogs. People at a dog show probably prefer dogs, so this is biased and not valid. And because you're doing it at a place that's easy to do, it's called a convenience sample. It is a convenience sample. Number 3 says to determine the most common injury cared for in an emergency room. A reporter goes to the same hospital every afternoon for 1 month. During the summer, she goes to the same hospital every afternoon for 1 month during the summer and observes people entering the emergency room. She concludes that second-degree sunburn is the most common injury. All right. So there's some good things in the survey and some bad. Like she's going for an entire month, so that's going to give her, a period of time where she's going to see a variety of injuries. But the fact that she goes only in the summertime, if you're trying to represent the type of injury that's most common over a year, and you're just looking in the summer, then you're going to get injuries that are just most common in the summer, not for maybe the entire year. It's true that in summer a lot of people get sunburn, so you're gonna. It makes sense to see that more often. But that may not be the most common. It just may be the most common for that time of the year. All right. So let's write about that. People are only surveyed in the summer when sunburn, misspelled that, when sunburn is most likely, so it is a convenience sample and not valid. It's convenient because she only has to do it for a month. If you want to get a sample for the year, it's going to take a lot more time. Number 4, to evaluate the integrity of underground water lines, the Department of Public Works randomly selects 20 sites in the city to unearth and observe the water lines. At 5 of the sites, the water lines needed repair. The Department of Public Works concludes that about 1/4 of underground water lines throughout the city need repair. All right, so basically they're going to go around town and they're going to dig up water lines. And then they're going to see which ones need to be repaired. And when they did that, 5 out of the 20 they dug up needed repairs. So that's the 1/4 comes from 5 out of 20. If I just simplify that by 5, I get 1/4. All right, so the idea is, did they do it in a way that's unbiased? Well, they randomly selected the 20 sites. They didn't choose one section of the city to concentrate on. So I would say yes, this is a good sample. It is unbiased and valid. It is a simple, Random sample. They didn't have a system maybe for choosing their sites, but it was random. All right, and then number 5 says to evaluate customer satisfaction. A grocery store gives double coupons to anyone who completes a survey as they enter the store. The store manager determines that customers are very satisfied with their shopping experience in his store. So what do you think? Is this biased or unbiased? Well, the fact that he's giving away double coupons to people to take a survey may skew his information. He's also just asking people who want to rate their experience. So they're more likely, these people are going to be happier, they're more likely to give him a satisfied rating. So this is not a valid sample. This is biased and not valid. Since a reward is given. And this type of sample is called a voluntary response. It is a voluntary response sample. All right, so that concludes this video. Again, remember you're looking for looking at samples, how data is collected, and it would either be a biased or an unbiased sample depending on how they collect the information. So remember the 2 types of unbiased are when they select it randomly, okay, and sometimes that's just a simple way of doing it or a systematic way of doing it. And then when it is biased, okay, for some reason they're favoring one part of the data over another, and that can be because they took a convenience sample, which made it just easy to do, or because they took a voluntary response sample, they just asked people who wanted to do the survey. All right, I'll see you in class.